Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Hello everyone. In this occasion, I will explain about the material of grammar translation method. The first material will be delivered by me. Definition of grammar translation method. The grammar translation method is a method of teaching foreign language derived from the classical method of teaching Greek and Latin. In grammar translation method, students learn grammatical rules and then apply those rules by translation sentence between the target language and the native language. The advanced student may be required to translate whole text word by word. The method has two main goals. The first is to enable students to read and translate literature written in the target language, and then the future student general intellectual development. Okay, next about the function of grammar translation method. The function of the grammatical translation method, namely as the implementation of student in learning grammar rules and then applying those rules to translate sentence between the target language and their native speaker. Okay, next about characteristic of GTM or grammar translation method. There are 5 characteristics of GTM. The first is clauses is taught in the mother tongue. Much vocabulary is taught in the form or list of isolated words. Third, little or no attention is given to pronunciation. Fourth, reading to difficult text is begin early. And the last, long elaborate explanation of the inclined cases of grammar are given. Next, why would I use this method? There are 3 reasons why would I use this method. The first, GTM focus on the application of grammar and correct sentence structure. This is especially helpful in teaching students how to write and read in another language, allowing them to explore incredible words and phrases, for example, different words for different tenses, more effectively than a verbal teaching method. Second, tests of grammar rules and of translation are easy to contrast. And the last, class activity or learning games are rarely necessary, as students are translation text to another language directly. Teachers who are not fluent in English but fluent in the other language that the student preliminary use can teach English using this approach, as the emphasis is not the spoken word but not on translation. Okay, next about strength of GTM. The first, students learn a lot of vocabulary. Second, reading and writing skill are excelled. And the last, it activities student a memory. Next, weakness of GTM. The first, poor listening and speaking. Second, unnatural and incorrect pronunciation. And the last, GTM is not creative and engaging for students.
Okay, I will continue with the material that has conveyed by Nani Yunengsih. The next is about grammar translation method in different points. The first, provide a change in learning a new language using textbook. Here make it easier for teacher to convey the material because the learning media is easily understood by student. Second, student can learn vocabulary not only in the target language but also in their mother tongues. Use of language is easier for students to understand because it uses the mother tongue. Okay, about traits. The first, it will be more interactive. Second, students might be not accustomed to translate word by word. Of course, it will make it a little difficult for students to spell the word and also has a weakness, where in the end student will take a long time to find the point conflict. Next is practice of grammar translation method. The first, ask the student to take 5 vocabulary words from their favorite song and then translate it into English. Second, in teaching a particular lesson in grammar, ask the student to memorize the rules and they shall give their sentence as simple. Third, ask the student to take down their friends' conversation in their native language and then translate into English. Fourth, a student to write 10 verbs from the article essays to them, and then this shall give the synonym and antonym. Fifth, ask students to memorize at least 5 words per day in English and give their native language equivalent. And the last, conclusion. Grammar translation method is one of the most effective methods that can be used to read and translate sentences that show grammatical rules to acquire English as a second language. Thus, it can be concluded that the grammar translation method is a teaching-learning method that focuses on grammar and translation rules and is also a purpose grammar translation method. Okay, thank you for your attention. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.